Diane Keaton. A life in frames, laughter, and heart. Diane Keaton, a name that evokes wit, vulnerability, and cinematic boldness, has passed away at the age of 79. On October 11, 2025, news broke that the Oscar-winning actress, beloved for roles in Annie Hall, The First Wives Club, Something's Gotta Give, and the Godfather trilogy, had died. What remains is not only a remarkable filmography, but a life story that carried struggles, reinventions, and an artistry uniquely her own. Early years, from Diane Hall to Diane Keaton. Born Diane Hall in Los Angeles in 1946, she was the oldest of 4 children. Her father worked as a civil engineer, and her mother, though a homemaker, carried unfulfilled dreams of performance, singing, piano, and presence. Diane once reflected that her mother secretly wished for a life like hers. People.com. Early on, Diane sensed that she harbored a creative lean. She performed in high school plays, and after graduating in 1964, she enrolled in drama studies. But formal training wasn't enough. She dropped out to pursue theater in New York, carving her own path. When she entered the professional acting world, she adopted her mother's maiden name, Keaton, partly because there was already an actor named Diane Hall in the Actors' Equity Register. And so Diane Keaton was born, a name that would become iconic in Hollywood. Breakthrough and big risks. Diane's early career had its challenges. In 1968, she became involved with Hair on Broadway, serving as an understudy. During that time, she grappled with bulimia, a struggle she later spoke about candidly, saying it wasn't the director's fault, but part of a deeper internal battle. Her film debut came in 1970 with Lovers and Other Strangers, but the turning point arrived when she was cast, surprisingly, in The Godfather, 1972, as Kay Adams, the girlfriend and later wife of Michael Corleone. She admitted she had not even read the novel before auditioning. She literally walked into that role with curiosity and bravery. That film was monumental. The Godfather became a defining touchstone in cinema. She returned for The Godfather Part 2 in 1974, a film also widely acclaimed, and much later for Part 3 in 1990. But it was Annie Hall, 1977, that cemented her legacy. In that movie, her offbeat, neurotic charm and wardrobe of men's trousers, vests, and loose shirts became a signature aesthetic. She won the Academy Award for Best Actress for that role, a movie that blurred the lines between her real self and her characters. A versatile cinematic journey. After Annie Hall, Diane kept evolving. She collaborated repeatedly with Woody Allen, Play It Again, Sam, Sleeper, Manhattan, Love and Death, and also branched into Hollywood romantic comedies and dramas. Films like Looking for Mr. Goodbar, Reds, The Little Drummer Girl, Baby Boom, Father of the Bride, Something's Gotta Give. These all demonstrated her range. In Father of the Bride, she brought warmth, humor, and relatability, becoming a go-to name in family-centered comedy drama. The First Wives Club, 1996, showcased her comedic timing, particularly among female-driven casts. Over time, she did direct work, 2 documentaries and feature films, and even dabbled in television with The Young Pope. She never shied away from reinvention. Over decades, her presence remained fresh, even as she aged in an industry often unkind to mature women. She embraced that, publicly admitting she often didn't watch her own films, sometimes unsettled by seeing her own voice or face on screen. Inner battles, identity, and personal life. Keaton's life was not without inner conflict. Her struggle with bulimia, her insecurities about her voice and appearance, her self-consciousness. These all intersected with her public persona. She once said, "I don't like the way I look and sound," acknowledging the dissonance between how she felt and what she projected to the world. She never married. In a 2019 interview, she mused, "I'm the only one in my generation of actresses who has been a single woman all her life." She remembered in high school a boy telling her she'd make a good wife, and she simply rejected the premise. "I don't want to be a wife." No. Still, motherhood touched her life. She adopted 2 children, Dexter in 1996 and Duke in 2001. She described motherhood not as an urge she couldn't resist, but rather a thought she had considered deeply. Then she plunged in. Relationships were never off the table. She was romantically linked over the years to Woody Allen, Al Pacino, and Warren Beatty. She once remarked, "Talent is so damn attractive. The final act and legacy." On October 11, 2025, Diane Keaton died in California at age 79. The cause has not been publicly disclosed. Her family requested privacy during this moment of grief. Earlier that morning, the Los Angeles Fire Department responded to her home at around 8:08 a.m. local time and transported a 79-year-old woman to a hospital. Her legacy is extensive. Actresses, filmmakers, fans, critics, many have already paid tribute, calling her a national treasure. Someone whose public persona was as authentic as her roles. People.com+1. She leaves behind 2 children, Dexter and Duke, whom she loved and raised. Her films, performances, and spirit remain what we remember. A performer who shaped modern romantic comedies, dramas, and character studies. A style icon whose fashion in Annie Hall redefined women's wardrobes in cinema. A fearless woman, unafraid of exposing her vulnerabilities, yet always retaining dignity. A figure who disproved the notion that actresses fade with age. She evolved. A human being who, behind the glamour, navigated mental health, identity, self-doubt, and still created art that resonated. Diane Keaton's passing is a quiet turning of the page in Hollywood's story, one that feels too soon, but also one that reminds us how rare it is to live a life in public that also feels deeply personal. She once said, "I don't know anything, and I haven't learned. Getting older hasn't made me wiser." That humility, that openness, that relentless striving, that was Diane Keaton. Rest in peace.